Show said.
Welcome tonight to the Hey Joe Show. I will tell you this, that tonight's episode is a little unplugged, I guess is what we're calling it. We're calling it Unplugged because you see here an individual who normally is not on this side of the cameras. And I want to say a big welcome to my son, Colton. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Yeah.
Normally I'm on the other side of the camera. So this is kind of different.
It's a little weird, isn't it, knowing that all the fans out there,
the 2 people watching right now,
the 3 people watching right now who are, and one of those is your mom,
and
was
Michaela.
curious about whether or not Colton really did get on the air ever, and we're grateful to be able to tell you tonight that Colton does get on the air. But I will say this to you, obviously, that Colton does a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and of course the Hey Joe Show is a very high dollar operation, and so it requires a full-time staff just to run the Hey Joe Show, and the production staff is amazing, right? I mean, the production staff is one of the best. I would put our production staff up against
10 out of 10.
I'd put us up against any number of organizations, and of course our production staff is Colton.
Yes.
That is our production staff. And so it is kind of neat tonight that he's on this side of the camera. But when Aaron and I were talking about tonight's show format, we thought to ourselves, why not just have a show that is kind of unplugged? Actually, that's what I said we were going to have. Aaron and I talked just about Colton being on it, right? And so when Colton says, Dad, what are we going to talk about? I said, I don't know. We're going to talk about just things and people being able to see that you and I interact, man. And so it's not necessarily tonight about a lesson from God's Word, although you know that we want to do those and make that our emphasis, but it's even not about our traditional case studies. So tonight is truly an unplugged show, and so I want to thank you for tuning in, and I want to thank Colton for joining me live on this show tonight. And so as we always do in beginning the Hey Joe Show, we want to make sure that we give a shout out to
the Light Network
.tv, the Light Network.tv. You said that as if you had never heard me say that
normally
before.
You say it at the end
Does
of the
that mean
show.
you're not listening to the podcast?
Not last week.
Oh, Colton, that hurts, man. Here I thought the production staff was actually listening in on the show.
No, last week there was a big Zoom call from some of the friends from Legacy Family Camp, Oklahoma, and they called right as the show started. And so I was on that while doing the camera stuff.
Okay, so you were monitoring, and what you're saying is you just don't listen to the intros. That's okay. So we do want to give a thank you, a big shout out to the lightnetwork.tv. And of course, we want to make sure you're aware of something pretty cool, and that is truth.fm. We have the privilege of having our own The Hey Joe Show station. Colton, can you imagine that?
I mean, if you want to be like his kids every day and listen to him all the time, just go on over there.
That is right. You can go to truth.fm and you can get the Hey Joe Show 24 hours a day, except, when they have to give them some fillers and 365 days a year. Can you imagine somebody getting to listen to your dad?
Man, that's their lucky day.
Their lucky day.
Wow.
That's right. That's right. You and Michaela and Camden and Bennett only think that you're the lucky ones, right? But at Truth.fm, we have been blessed to enter into a partnership with them where the Hey Joe Show has a channel, and if you choose to go there, you can download their app, listen to it. It's kind of like satellite radio, but through an app concept. But also, if you're looking for the opportunity maybe for your congregation to have its own kind of radio station through the app like that, then you can talk to the people over at truth.fm. I would encourage you to do that. So that's our shout out today. And Colton, do we have anybody tuning in other than your mom and your sister?
Well, we have Will Young and Spencer Scott Parker and Mr. Michael Brown.
How about that? Just a couple people saw that you were on here.
Well, that's just out of like the people that say are watching with me. Otherwise, there's 16.
There's 16 that are not telling you who they are. And you know why they're watching? Because you.
Exactly.
I want you to know that. Now, Colton tonight came on the show, and I told you this is an unplugged show, and he came on the show tonight because I told him he had to. Let's just be real. I said, Colton, you're going on the show. He said, all right. I was happy that he approved that and went on with that. So, but he did say this to me, and I want to kind of get the Hey Joe Show feedback. This is an unplugged show. It's a fun show. So those of you who are just tuning in, you're going, what's he talking about? Tonight is supposed to be a fun show, okay? So here's the deal. Colton said he was going to come on the air with me, but he asked a question. He said, Dad, can I wear my hat? He said, Dad, can I wear my hat? Now, Colton, why do you feel like you need to wear a hat tonight on the show?
Because my hair has not been cut in like 4 months.
4 months?
No, wait. What is it? January, February, March, April.
When
was Evangelism University?
Evangelism University was
it
in January. Actually,
February?
Yeah, January.
It's been 3 or 4 months since I've gotten a haircut.
Well, it is time. You see, I cut mine every Wednesday and every Sunday, and I have no problem being the one that would cut your hair. No problem whatsoever.
No.
I really don't mind. It will not hurt my feelings.
Back to the 5-year-old buzz cut.
Back to the 5-year-old buzz cut. Well, here's what I want to know, though, tonight, and this is what the Hey Joe Show audience really wants to know. How do I know that they want to know that? Because they're the Hey Joe Show audience, okay? Here's what the Hey Joe Show audience truly wants to know. Will you take your hat off and reveal your hair
I gotta take
live to the Hey Joe Show audience? Oh, here we go. He's running his hands through the locks. And, of course, he does exactly what his dad is always proud of him to do. He makes it like he has a rooster tail or whatever it is at the very top. I don't know if your children do that.
Wait.
What are you waiting on?
I mean, you said show it to him.
Oh, nice. This is definitely an unplugged show.
You said show him
This
the
is
hair.
now, I don't know how many of you all, your teenage boys, have a desire to be a rooster.
Here.
Okay? My teenage son has a desire to be a rooster.
From this side, yep.
Now, what are you doing? Why do you do that? Is that what all the kids are doing these days?
No.
Are all the teenage boys wearing their hair like that?
Mm-mm.
All right, so why do you want to do that? Let's get deep into the teenage mindset. Why do you want to do that?
It keeps my hair out of my eyes.
Now, wait, take it off. Take it off. The Hey Joe Show audience is not done looking at your hair, okay?
Oh.
It keeps it out of your eyes. Now, how long would you like your hair to be able to grow?
Oh, yes. Okay, so
Let's
going back
talk.
to Evangelism University.
Let's talk about cultural relevance in the Wells family.
Cultural relevance. Going back to Evangelism University. So at EU, I was there with Spring Meadows. And
our home congregation.
Right.
Okay.
And out of nowhere, there was this teenager there who, he didn't have a true mullet, but he had his hair cut sort of like a mullet.
Nice.
And I'd already thought 3 weeks ago, you know how epic it would be to have a mullet?
Nice.
So I turned to one of the kids in the youth group and I said, Logan, we're growing mullets. And he said, yeah, we are.
So you from that moment on, you came back and you're like, Dad, I want to be able to grow my hair out, right?
I said, I'm growing a mullet.
Growing a mullet. Now, what is the deal with a mullet? Somebody tell me, maybe in Facebook land, maybe in some place wherever teenagers get these ideas from, why a mullet? Why not like a buzz cut? Why not like high and tight or whatever it's called? Why a mullet?
Is
it Billy Ray Cyrus?
I don't like.
I mean, is he the one that's drawing you guys into this?
100%.
I knew it was Billy Ray.
Um,
Billy Ray, if you're watching this tonight, you need to call into the show and explain your mullet history. Okay, go ahead.
Have you seen his hair now?
No,
his
what's he
hair
look
is
like
just
now?
long and has split ends and looks kind of.
Oh, you know what split ends are. That's awesome. Thank you. That's awesome. What is a split end?
I don't know, but his hair's all like. His hair looks crazy.
It looks crazy,
it's so bad.
Nice. Okay, your mom is in the other room, and she piped in and she said, "No mullet."
Yeah, she's not the only one who says that. So when we went back the whole week, the Friday, Saturday that we were at EU, we were saying we're going to get a mullet, and everyone who was with us were like, do not grow a mullet. Please, no. And then we got back to church, and we told everyone that we were going to grow mullets. And like half the people we asked if we should say yes, the other half were like, no, I won't talk to you anymore.
Nice.
Yeah. They were joking, of course.
Of course, because they really want you to grow
Yeah.
a mullet. That's what they.
Yes.
If any of the youth group there is listening to this, then Colton has just declared that you really want the mullet.
They do. They're just
Unleash the mullet.
They're just afraid to say it.
I understand. People
Because
are
a
afraid of a
mullet
lot of
shows
things.
your dominance.
Oh, does it?
It does.
I don't know if I would interpret a mullet as dominance, but either way, I think it definitely does show something. Let's just leave it at that, okay?
Yeah.
It definitely reveals something. But either way, I appreciate you doing that for the audience of the Hey Joe Show. I mean, after all, they don't usually get to see you on this side of the camera, and so to be able to see the unveiling of the hair. And you even gave them the rooster, whatever that thing is, the rooster tail or whatever. I don't even think that's a man bun. It's like more of a rooster tail.
Yeah.
Can you imagine me
Looks
with
like
one
Jack
of those? Can you imagine? Yeah, it does look like Jack. Can you imagine me with one of those?
That'd be funny.
That would be awesome. If I could grow hair like that, well, I've already said if I could grow hair, I would grow it out as a fro.
Exactly.
I would have really
And, you know,
puffy, big hair.
Logan has short, curly hair, so even his parents are like, it's not going to grow into a mullet. You're just going to have an afro like your father did.
Did he really?
Yeah, they did.
I didn't know that. So, all right. So here's the deal. We're going to talk about whatever we're going to talk about tonight. It's not going to be necessarily, scripted. Let's just say that. It's not scripted. So here's the deal. Colton, you and, in this whole self-quarantining thing, we've been inside now for some time.
4 weeks.
4 weeks is what it is. Now, of course, some of you are curious about how that's impacted us, and some of you have asked that. And, of course, you know the nature of the work that we do is I travel and I speak at congregations and conduct youth rallies, family seminars, things along those nature. Well, when congregations can't meet, that means that I'm not traveling and speaking much. And so what we're doing is we're trying to make Kyle Publications' social media presence such that it is a blessing to individuals out there, right? So here's the deal, though. Outside of what we've been doing with Kyle Publications, you've noticed some things with this whole show, whatever it is, social distancing, right? And here's what I want us to talk about. You're a big baseball fan. Anybody who knows you knows that you love baseball, and your desire one day is to play baseball where?
In the major leagues.
In the major leagues, that's one. But your stepping stone, I thought, was Freed-Hardeman University, right?
Freed-Hardeman University.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to give a shout-out to the coach because I know he's watching the Hey Joe Show, and we think that you should check Colton out when it comes to his skills, okay? Especially when it comes to scholarship. We think you should check that out as well. But either way, you are a huge baseball fan. I think he has just become embarrassed. But either way, you're a huge baseball fan, and you keep up with the Texas Rangers. You keep up with baseball in general. But I think it's quite funny that you have noticed that in light of the Major League Baseball season being postponed, they have started playing video games and streaming a tournament of video games. Tell us a little bit about that because you know a whole lot more about it than I do. But how does it work? Who's running it, man? And just tell us a little bit about the tournament.
Yeah, okay. So a few weeks ago, they did a 4-player tournament like test run. And it was on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube.
And of course, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube are what? Well, Twitter,
okay,
YouTube,
okay.
and Twitter are social
YouTube-
media, but what's Twitch?
Twitch it's just a streaming platform for like video games and
Okay. All right, so they aired it on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube.
right. And that went pretty well. So Friday night and apparently last night and I think tonight is their primetime night. They're doing an MLB The Show Players League where they got one representative from each of the 30 teams, and they're playing in like a 29-game season, and then they'll go into the postseason, and they'll go into like the World Series, and the winner of that is like the winner of the 2020 MLB The Show like tournament.
So since they cannot play real baseball, they're playing video game baseball.
The date? Oh, it's
13th.
been 4 weeks.
It's the 13th.
4 more weeks, and then we get an update.
Oh, really?
4 more weeks, and then we get an update on the season.
So they're playing games daily. But what is interesting to me about that is not that obviously you enjoy watching baseball and you enjoy kind of seeing what they're doing. But what's interesting to me is that we live in a day and time that professional athletes are playing a video game that includes them.
Oh, yes.
And they are streaming it, and people are watching it.
Mm-hmm. Well, on your computer, if you go to the Texas Rangers baseball website.
Texas Ranger baseball website. Okay,
I'll
I'm
show you,
getting
I'll
there.
show you something real fast because we can throw it up on the screen. But it's pretty funny because Joey Gallo, who is the big man on the Texas Rangers now.
The big man on the Texas Rangers. Okay.
He's the home run hitter.
All right.
He's the representative for the Rangers, and he maybe had played like 5 games before the tournament, and he went undefeated. And the guy who ended up in the championship last game, who's Blake Snell, that's it. He was trying hard in MLB The Show, and he was playing as himself. Now each of the players that are in this were given like some special card, and it's like a 99 overall card. So Joey Gallo's regular card in MLB The Show 20 is like 99 overall anyway. Mm-hmm. But Blake Snell was pitching his 80 like 2 to 87 overall card, and Joey Gallo goes, "Yeah, I literally never play this game." And right when he says that, he smacks a home run.
He hit a home run.
He did. So I mean,
you should be able to add the screen.
Let me see here. Is it
so
Joe's MacBook?
That's
Pro?
it. The cool thing about what we have is that we can actually broadcast the desktop of my laptop. And so let's see if he's going to put it up there for you. And this is what you're talking about. So walk us through this.
Go ahead and turn the audio off so I can.
Audio's off. You go ahead and tell us about it. I'm going to hit play, okay?
So, just before
it's only 34 seconds.
Yeah, so go ahead and hit play.
All right, here we go.
So right here, Joey, go ahead. Literally, Joey Gallo says, "I never play this game." And Joey Gallo is on the bottom, and Blake Snell's on the top. And Blake Snell's literally just sitting there, and he's like, "Bruh." He's like, "You never play this game?"
You just said bruh.
I did on the show.
Okay.
He literally
I think that's like bro where we come from. Okay, go ahead.
Blake Snell literally goes into the other room, grabs a towel, and says, "Hey, you need this towel for how much you're sweating trying so hard over there?" He's like, how are you still holding on to your controller with all that sweat over there?
Oh, so these two guys were smack talking each other. Is that what you're saying?
Everyone was.
So they were smack talking. So that's kind of what you're watching. But what's interesting about that is Major League Baseball players playing a video game that includes them, and they're playing a tournament, and they're broadcasting it. So here's my question. What makes that so interesting? Why do some people like watching other people play video games?
Well,
you just said well like I do. Y'all always give me a hard time for going, well.
Well?
And you just said well.
Well, I'd say it like that.
Uh-huh.
But,
well, there it is again.
I got to think
go
about
ahead.
it. Okay, so like with
I bet you'll
games,
say it again. I'm going to go out on a limb and say you'll say it again.
With certain things like Fortnite,
yeah.
You have your pro players who are like 10 times better than you, if you're me.
Yeah.
And you like to watch them because they're content creators, and some of them are like really good, and some of them just do stupid things. Like, they'll hide in a box the whole game, and they have to win by hiding in the box. Or they'll do games.
So people like watching people hide in a box.
Right. Sure. It just depends on the streamer or the YouTuber. And then but like for MLB The Show, it's been said since before.
Yeah.
Since before they started doing this, but MLB The Show is the closest thing you're going to get to professional baseball.
At this time.
Because you just have the lineups and you have the game. And so really it's just watching the players compete. And
it's just sports.
It's just sports.
You miss
really.
sports.
I mean, ESPN yesterday was because before, here's one thing. People say all the time that the MLB, because it like ratings show and so do stats. Like, who would say this? That the NBA is the number one liked sport in the in the realm
in all
of sport,
in all sports.
And then like some people put hockey and soccer before baseball, and I'm like, soccer, you just watch people go back and forth.
Yeah, we have people who watch soccer who listen to this show.
I mean, okay, I can get hockey.
So don't run off our 3 fans, okay?
Okay. But like, at least in baseball, I don't know how fast they kick the ball in soccer, okay? So like, this is probably not a good talking point. But in baseball, you're watching someone literally throw something 90 to 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And then you're watching other guys, if they square that ball up, hit it anywhere from 1 to 130 miles per hour.
All right.
130 is pushing it a lot. But
So you're saying that's not enjoyable to watch that?
Like, some people don't think it's enjoyable. Now, I will say there was a big discussion on whether or not the baseballs were changed so that way they fly farther, so that more home runs are hit and they're thrown faster, because people were sick of seeing just pitching matchups where one guy's painting the corner and another guy's painting the corner, and all they get are like line drives, or they get these. So, like, for instance, Jock Peterson, who plays with the Dodgers, he hit a fly ball, and he even just started the jog to first, like the jog of shame of, oh, that's a pop fly, and the ball literally just carried over the fence. And
really,
it went over the fence by like maybe 3 feet.
So you're suggesting then that they're going to play to whatever the fan base wants.
Right.
I guess in football that would be this. They changed the rules regarding pass interference, what you can do to the quarterback, because people want to see touchdowns. They want to see long bombs. And in football, you're saying they want to see home runs.
And baseball. But yeah.
Baseball, excuse me. Anyway, I didn't even know that was a sport. No, I'm teasing. I'm teasing.
But back to what...
So why do people watch it?
But back to what I was saying is, baseball finally beat the NBA to something. The Players Tournament. The MLB technically did this Players Tournament a week before the NBA did a 2K tournament.
Okay, so the NBA's doing this too.
They're doing NBA 2K, and they started like a week after the MLB. Now, the MLB hadn't started like a league, but it was a test run for a league.
Okay.
But all this to say, ESPN is airing the 2K tournament on ESPN.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I got a text last night from Michael Rucker that said, on ESPN, the 2K tournament is on.
That's crazy because... I mean, at one point in time, there was actual entertainment. Somebody could question whether or not it was entertainment.
Right,
but
now we just watch two guys on a video game just running back and forth on the court. And now the same thing could be said for baseball. And I think basketball, I do enjoy basketball. It's in my top 3 with baseball, football, and then there's basketball. But one of the enjoyable things about basketball is, not to a crazy extent, but to some extent, they do let the players play. And they do let them express themselves. And so it's fun to see Steph Curry like run up to half court being 6'2" and shoot over someone who's like 6'7" and drain it from half court. It's fun to watch, LeBron absolutely travel halfway across the court and slam dunk the ball.
You say that's fun?
Because it's cool to watch.
Oh, okay.
And
so you're just enjoying the video game side of it, even though it's not real?
Well, I'm talking about in real life.
Oh, you're talking about real life.
Now, in the video game, I enjoy playing it more than I do watching it.
Okay. All right. It's interesting. It's interesting because I believe that, but I'm just curious, why is it that people enjoy watching? Because I just saw a headline that said that video games are the, the social distance winners in this, especially ones that are streaming.
Gaming industries are making a bunch of money.
Which is quite interesting in light of everything else that may be struggling. The gaming industry is not. And, of course, part of that is because that is an outlet that young people can do. They're not in, we would call it traditional class settings, right? Even in homeschool. I heard somebody once say that this isn't traditional for homeschool either, what we're encountering, right? So it's not normal for any of us, but the industry there is increasing. So I want you to switch over to my desktop, and I want you to see this because I want to change the subject here. This article is also pretty important, too, because I thought it was quite interesting. And, of course, you can see the headline there that says, teens should still get outside. And, of course, this article comes from an actual a school teacher. You can see here a science teacher. And when you start thinking about what he's getting at, he's honing in on a concept. You don't have to keep showing him the slide, but he's honing in on a concept, and that is this, that in this time of social distancing, it gets real easy just to sit there and do nothing, right? So yes. I guess kind of as this is an unplugged show, right? We're just having fun talking about things of interest. Tell everybody what happened, what game we just played, and what happened outside before we came in to set up for the Hey Joe show. Make sure you don't shortchange the story. Go right ahead.
Oh, okay.
Make sure you talk into the microphone, too, so they can hear you.
Can Jam.
Can Jam. Is that what it's called? It's not called Cam Jam. It's called Can Jam.
Can Jam.
It's a Frisbee game, folks, where you set up some PVC plastic tubes and you do what? Go ahead.
Well, yeah, so you throw Frisbee. A lot of people know what Can Jam is.
Well, maybe not everybody who watches the Hey Joe show.
Right.
All 3 of us.
I just said right. Well, we'll give him the benefit.
Are you going to say,
doubt
well?
then.
Yeah.
So, yeah, basically you have a Frisbee and you have these two like cans, and the top is cut out of them, and then they have a slot, and you're trying to throw the Frisbee in the slot, and it's the first to 21 wins. And so you can get points by throwing it, and if the person on your team deflects it, and it hits the can, then you get 1. If you throw it and it hits the can without help, it's 2. And if you throw it and they hit it in the top of the can, then it's 3. And then if you slot it, the other team gets a chance to slot it, or you win. So that's basically the rules. It's like cornhole, but with a Frisbee.
Okay.
And
Now tell everybody what happened before we came in here.
Right.
I think you're avoiding the details.
So Dad and Camden were on a team, and me, Michaela, and Bennett were on a team, and I had to come in at the end of the game just to play cleanup to get them some points.
Whatever. Go ahead, tell them what really happened.
It was 16-0. I came in to help.
16-0 with Dad and Camden winning. Let's be real.
I came in to help, and Michaela would throw the Frisbee, and Bennett and Michaela have never really thrown Frisbees much, so they weren't too good at it.
Your sister will listen to this. She's one of the 3 listeners.
They got better throughout the game. So it got to the point once where Michaela threw me a really, really nice pass, and I went to hit it, and it was one of those things where it hit my hand, and I just gave it more spin. And it missed. But that's not as bad as it gets.
Oh, is it worse?
There was one time where I threw the Frisbee, and it was perfect. If it was a little lower, it would have gone through the slot. But it was just high enough that all Michaela had to do was stand behind the can, put her hands up like this, and then just put them down. And it would have gone in, and they would have had an easy 3 points, and they would have been down by 16.
So even with that phenomenal hit, you would have been down 16.
16. Michaela does this, right? So the Frisbee's coming in. It's over the can, and Michaela's just like wide-eyed. She's just looking at it. And the Frisbee, it's like it's right there. If she just touches it, it's going to go right in, and then she just keeps watching it and watching it. And like half the Frisbee's over the can, half the Frisbee's already past the can, and she's like, oh, I'm supposed to hit it in. And she doesn't say that out loud, but you could just tell because she reaches her hand out, but she doesn't do it like this. She does it underneath, and she goes, and she goes right under the can.
It's more like a judo chop.
She just karate chopped the air.
Judo chop. Weren't you, baby? You were judo chopping it. That's exactly what she was doing. So you end up losing. That's what the main thing is that I want to really hit on, is that your old man still has it. Basically, that's yet again
against 2 people who've never played Frisbee in their life.
That's yet again the take home is how very athletic your father still is.
Mm-hmm, sure.
See, our athletic ability doesn't always leave us men. This is a lesson. Give them a shot of my face. I really want to talk to the men. You know, when you think about becoming older, I want you to hear this, men. Never, never leave an opportunity on the table to defeat your teenage son. Because your athletic ability did not fade with your hair. Your athletic ability did not change when you turned from black hair to gray hair. And those aches and pains that you feel in the morning, let me tell you something. Those will pass. Because victory is forever, but pain is temporary. All right, zoom back out. That was my part of the show.
Wait, that's an actual quote.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
No, I thought I just made that up.
No, I'm pretty sure it's wait. Yeah, I had it hanging up. I have it hanging up in my room.
Do you?
And we're getting the wrap it up sign.
Maybe that's where I've seen it. Maybe that's where I've seen it. I don't know. All right, so I think I'm going to title this particular episode Mullets, Baseball, and Can Jam. Unplugged. That's what it is.
Yeah.
The Hey Joe Show Unplugged, Mullets, Baseball, and Can Jam.
We haven't even gone 30 minutes, and we're getting
I know. See why it is that your mother always needs to be on the show? Because I could just keep talking forever.
Exactly.
And make this really cool.
I got
and
the
fun.
button right here.
I know, but we're not going to hit the button yet. So here, on a serious note, though, I know that we have. It's unplugged for a reason because I wanted Colton to come on, and I'm grateful, Colton, that you did. You did a great job, man. It's different when you're in front of the microphone. And by the way, he's still running the production side of the show.
Just one camera angle the whole time.
If you could see what he's doing here, it is quite amazing. But the idea really behind what we talk about is this. We want you to know that Aaron and I are just real people. Our family's a real family, and those of you who know us, you know that. We don't want to live with a facade or anything like that. So tonight, just kind of being unplugged, it allows you to see us interact and kind of to spend time together in this way. But I did find it quite interesting because the things that we talked about are still culturally relevant. Mullets are coming back, and I knew that before I asked you to show your hair, and I think that's crazy.
I was on that trend before the whole they're coming back. I literally said
you set the trend.
I said I'm growing the mullet, and then a week later, Mom was reading an article of a teacher who said mullets are coming back. All I'm saying is I'm a trendsetter.
I knew you were.
You
son.
yell out I'm growing a mullet loud enough at a youth rally in a school, and people catch on.
And they want to do the same thing because mullets are in, right? But what's funny is as culture changes, trends change, and these are the discussions that some parents may be having. Probably 3 parents are having that discussion with their teenage boy, and I'm grateful that you allow us to be one of those sets of parents that have that discussion. But you think about the changing of time as well. As we're in the time period of social distancing, the irony of Major League Baseball players playing baseball that contains their own character, and they're broadcasting that on television,
and they're saying it looks
and that's
realistic
fun
too.
Well, we showed them a video, and if Major League Baseball wants to come and
sponsor us,
we would love to have that. If you would like to take us to court, don't call. But if you want to sponsor us, we'd love for you to do so. And as a matter of fact, Colton and I, man, we can start a sports broadcast, or you could.
But Major League Baseball, they'll no longer do that anymore. I could go on for about 10 minutes on this one too, but I'll just keep it short. Major League Baseball used to demonetize people who'd put up their videos. Now they welcome it because it promotes the game.
So I didn't break a law in that. Good.
Right, you can do that.
I'm glad to hear that. So here's the deal. When you think about mullets, you think about baseball, and you think about the other cultural trend that we looked at was in the time period of social distancing, the importance of going outside. Okay? The importance of going outside and spending time as a family playing Can Jam or playing whatever it is. The idea is that you need to spend time outside. So we shared with you kind of some of the things that we do, talk about some silly stuff, but either way, it was unplugged on tonight's show of the Hey Joe Show. So Colton, thanks for coming on, man. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Again, always we want to thank the folks at thelightnetwork.tv. And again, truth.fm, check them out. If you haven't already subscribed to the Hey Joe Show at your favorite podcast location, what's wrong with you? You need to do that, because there's no good reason not to. And you need to check us out at kyopublications.org, and you need to check us out on Facebook. We're even on Instagram and Twitter. Did you even know I knew how to say those words? No, he is speechless. But we're there. So we want to thank you for tuning in tonight. We hope you've enjoyed the show, and we invite you to check us out at kyopublications.org for all your needs that you may have. Thank you for tuning in. Y'all have a wonderful night. God bless.
Please hang up and try again.